So today, my speech is in continuation of one of Ed's speeches he gave a few weeks ago, which was about one of his favorite activities, which is walking. He talked about why he likes walking. And I'm going to tell you about biking today and why I like biking so much. First, I'm going to talk about the history of the bicycle. And then second, about bicycles as a mode of transportation. And then thirdly, about some of the exercise benefits you can get from biking. The earliest modern record of bicycles date back to the early 18th century, about 1810, and there are earlier records that are not really verified. But the first bicycle basically looked like two wheels connected by a stick, and the person would sit on them and just kind of use their feet to propel themselves. And they were invented as a response to a famine in which a lot of the horses in that region died, so they were meant to replace horses for carrying things and also just to get around. So there are all these early depictions of these bicycles where you have distinguished gentlemen with top hats, like, looking very elegant, trying to swaddle around on these complicated machines. The next innovation was to add pedals, and the first things were direct drive pedals, so one revolution of the pedal would correspond to one revolution of the wheel. And the problem with that is to go any appreciable speed, you need very large wheels. And you probably have seen pictures from that time period where there's this really big front wheel and then this tiny back wheel to balance it a little. The problem with this arrangement is that it's incredibly dangerous because there's nothing to prevent you from flipping forward and hitting your face on the ground. And it's also starting from very high up. So at that point, bicycles were mostly ridden by reckless young men to show off how indestructible they are. By the end of that century, however, they added a few safety features, and the bicycle basically looks like it does today. There is a chain-driven drive for the back wheel, so you get gearing, and you separate the back wheel from the front steering wheel. And at that point, the bike really took off as a mode of mass transportation. And that's where it is today. There are huge areas of the world in which bicycles are the main mode of transportation. And this is an unverified thing that I found on the internet, but I very much believe that statement to be true. Because bicycles are much cheaper than cars to get, and they're much cheaper and easier to operate too. You don't need to buy gasoline to power your bicycle, and it's very easy to maintain and fix. And you can carry a lot of stuff. They're really much faster than walking, and it provides a way for lots of people just to get around and go around their daily business. And not only in other parts of the world, biking is also making somewhat of a resurgence in the US. For example, in the last 25 years, the people that bike commute to work at least once a week has doubled. And now it's a staggering 1% of the population that does it. About 3.1 million people by the latest measure. But biking to work, biking for a mode of transportation has many benefits other than many benefits, especially in a city like Seattle, which is actually very bike friendly. So just to get around, some of us have been recently stuck in traffic and it's very frustrating. And with bikes, you can normally either go buy some cars and don't be stuck in traffic, or you can use the bus and the HOV lane. So just getting around town on bikes is actually very efficient in terms of time. It also prevents you from having to look for parking, which, if you just move around downtown, is a huge benefit. So by the estimates of the Seattle Department of Transportation, it takes about 5 to 25 minutes to find parking with a car and 1 minute to lock up your bicycle. So even if you're a little slower with the bike, you probably save time on your trip if it's just around town. And we've all been circling around the block for parking late at night where you want to be somewhere and everything is crowded, and it's extremely frustrating, and it raises my blood pressure, and it's unhealthy. So in addition to the health benefit of not having to look for parking, bicycles provide a way to build in exercise into your daily commute. So the time you normally spend sitting in the car or sitting on a bus, you can use for exercise, which is great because we're all busy people, we have places to be and things to do. And around Seattle, biking can provide a variety of types of exercise. It could be aerobic exercise if you have some moderate pace, or if you really want to work out and you can ride up this freaking hill all the way, and it really gets a sweat going. So in conclusion, I would like to say, before I conclude actually, Seattle is a great city for biking. Not just are there lots of opportunities for bike commuting, there are lots of bike paths for doing recreational biking. There's the Mercer Island Loop, there's the Sammamish River Trail, you can bike on Vashon and Bainbridge Island, you can bike all around Lake Washington, and all of these are very easy and fun ways of getting exercise just for recreational purposes. And compared to running, it's actually very easy on your knees. Just if your knees are not cooperating, I would suggest biking. And there are roughly 1 billion bicycles in the world, so chances are that lots of you have bicycles. And I would encourage you to use them and blithely bike around this rich environment of bike trails that we have in Seattle and take advantage of them. And I would encourage you to do so before the winter comes and